Welcome back, everybody. I'm Phil. That's Sam.
Welcome back to the channel.
We are doing the Beatles today. It's been a while since we come back to them. I love doing the Beatles. Unfortunately, they don't always make it up on the channel, but we wanted to make an effort on this one because my dad is a big Beatles fan, and today is Father's Day.
Yeah, so happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. We figured as well, if you guys, there's so many big Beatles fans out there. This might be a nice little gift to you guys. Get some Beatles out there on the channel on Father's Day. And we're doing Eleanor Rigby. This one is, I believe, a pretty popular one in the catalog, although it only went to number 11 on the U.S. Billboard charts. It did really well in the UK,
It went to number 1 in the UK. Yeah,
in Australia, and I think in Canada, Ireland as well. So maybe the U.S. was just hating on the Beatles for some reason. I don't know. When did it come out, Sam?
In 1966.
1966. It was released in August. And the last one that we did, A Day in the Life, you guys were loving that one.
I loved that one too.
It was fantastic. Really, really unique experience on that one. And you guys were telling us how, that really stuck out in their catalog for the Beatles. Very, very different. But it sounds like this song might be true as well. So
I was just about to say that it sounds like this one has like an unconventional structure but received a lot of critical acclaim.
So I don't know if I'm going to recognize this one. For me, I do know a fair amount of the Beatles catalog because, like I just said, my dad loves the Beatles. But I'm not familiar with the names as much. My dad used to play as well, so he would play some Beatles songs, and that's how I knew some of them. So I'll be interested myself to see if I recognize this one. Sam, do you recognize the name or anything like that?
No, my history with the Beatles is much smaller than Phil's, so I don't really know any of the ones. I think Here Comes the Sun is one of the only ones that I've recognized since we started this journey with the Beatles, so I'm excited to check out something new.
All right, well, without further ado, it's only a 2-minute song here, so unfortunately, guys, we won't be able to play it all the way through. We got to pause and, like I said, avoid those copyright-related issues, so we'll do that. We'll pause it. We'll probably run it back. Maybe we'll do this song 75% twice. Maybe we'll do that. So let's roll with Eleanor Rigby from the Beatles.
Look at all the lonely people. Look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where a wedding has been. Lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie, writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear. No one comes near. Look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there. What does he care? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Look at all the lonely people.
All right, we'll pause it here. I can't believe we're a minute and a half already. Like it's insane how short this song is, and it's almost disappointing because it's so good.
Yeah, I'm loving the strings in this. I feel like the strings bring this drama vibe to it, which is really cool and unique.
It's insanely good how unique it is because there's no rhythm. It's just all strings.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's just, like you said, building process, the peaks and the valleys, and telling this story that's going on with the drama within it, all from the strings, like you're talking about.
Yeah, and I feel like it has this, I don't know how to describe it. It almost the pace of the song almost is kind of like keeping me on the edge of my seat of what's he going to say next kind of thing.
Yeah, and so for me, I do recognize this song largely because this is so interesting because Father Mackenzie, that's my last name, is Mackenzie. Now, for the first time, you guys know this, first time it's being released on the channel, so don't go stalking me anywhere, guys. But it's so weird because I'm doing this on Father's Day, and Father Mackenzie is mentioned in the song. How weird is that? This
That's
was
very
totally not
weird.
planned. Like I said, because I didn't know the song, recognize the name or anything like that. I do recognize pieces of the song, but like I said, it's largely because, growing up, you hear a song saying your name, right?
So you like register it more.
It's like, oh, that's weird. It says my
That's my last
says my
name.
last name in
Yeah.
there, right? That's how I remember it from my childhood, and my dad probably playing it, hearing it in the background or whatever, but never took in, like we talked about, the string usage, the drama that's built,
Yeah.
and even the messaging, kind of this somber tone within it. Obviously talking about the father aspect, but then this person that's kind of isolated to a degree, and how their life is almost meaningless. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's
Yeah.
like not that their life doesn't mean anything actually, but the fact that that's the vibe that's being felt, is that they're isolated and alone, and the father will be there, but it's like for this purpose that's nobody's going to know about this person's life.
Yeah, I also kind of got this vibe in the beginning when they were talking about Eleanor Rigby, that almost like she puts on this face for other people type thing, but she's also alone because nobody truly knows her.
Right, that's valid. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
so that's kind of because they said something about like putting her face in a jar or something and puts it on
Yeah.
for other people. So to me, that's almost like putting on a mask, right? And being somebody different, but internally you're like lonely.
Exactly. All right, let's wrap up with some more of those great thoughts that Sam's given us. We'll close with some more of those at the end.
Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie, writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear. No one comes near. Look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there.
Beautiful vocal
What
too.
does he care? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Ah, look at all the lonely people.
Fire harmonies again.
Ah, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby died in the church and was buried along with her name. Nobody came. Father Mackenzie, wiping the dirt from his hands as he walks from the grave. No one was saved. All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong?
Wow. So fast, but so good. Or so quickly over with, I should say, but so good.
Yeah, the instrumentation on this, like, it almost makes me feel like you're going back in time historically a little bit as well. Like, obviously we are to the 60s, but I mean, like, way past that, it almost makes me feel like I'm like listening, like, not his vocals so much, but the instrumentation, like, I'm like, it belongs in like Bridgerton or the Tudors
We're
or
going to
something like that.
Beethoven's time period.
Yeah, like going way back to like, historical classic music kind of thing of, England and royalty and all that kind of nobility and all that kind of vibe.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that this is a pop song. This classical element that you're referring to was transformed to somehow become a pop song. And I think that really lends to the idea that the Beatles were so special in what they did, is that they were able to, communicate musically in a way that nobody else was thinking. It's like nobody else could come up with an idea like this, where, transforming this dramatic classical essence to a pop song that people would play and listen to. And I think it's just like, in general, what our experience has been with the Beatles is a seamless listening experience.
Yeah, and I've said it before in other videos, but I'll say it again. I think the thing that blows my mind the most in my experience becoming more accustomed to them is just how diverse their music can be, but also at the same time, it's all been so successful. So it's like, you look at something like I mentioned earlier, Here Comes the Sun, and that is like the
There's no
polar
box.
opposite of this, right? But they were equally very popular and did well in the charts and with their fans. So it's just like, it's crazy to me how, like they don't really have a lane. It's like their lane is just creativity.
I think that also is probably because of the fact they have 3 legendary songwriters.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. Obviously, Lennon and McCartney, they were credited with writing this. I think they get a lot of the success, or are talked about quite a bit in the mainstream. But I think anybody that knows music, and we've gotten to know a lot more about the Beatles and George Harrison, and he's obviously epic and elite as in terms of a songwriter as well. So, I mean, not to overlook Ringo, he obviously played a
They're all
role.
great.
But I think from songwriting, when you have 3 elite level songwriters in one band, and like when we say elite, we're talking like probably, the best of all time, and they all came into one band. It's going to contribute to what you're talking about, right?
I think that's something too that, oftentimes I feel like a lot of the repeat groups or artists that we've done, usually it's the same songwriter within the group. So that's probably also why the music tends to sound very similar, because if the same person is writing things, they're going to kind of stay in like their comfortable lane of what they like. Whereas if you have multiple people doing that, it's going to bring more diversity to the
irony with that, though, is that could be why the group broke up.
Yeah, fair.
It's because
of clashing with
the individuality was there of what they wanted to produce.
Yeah.
But they were, clashing.
Especially when you
there.
have like very creative people like this, it can go against each other sometimes.
They clearly made enough music to last us a very long time.
Yeah.
So, to Father Mackenzie, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
And to all the other fathers out there, happy Father's Day as well, whether you're like me and you're a cat dad. Or a dog dad, or anybody else, anybody that's acting in a parental role to any degree.
Yeah.
But hopefully you guys enjoyed hanging out with us on this one. I think this is those clips. I don't know if they're from the Yellow Submarine movie, because I'm pretty sure there's a movie of the Yellow Submarine.
That's something we didn't even touch on. I was like, this video is also like that's the thing I was going to say is I feel like as well with the repetitive movements in the video, I think that can also symbolize just going through the motions and being like isolated. And just going through the motions and doing your thing and not like getting out there and
Before you know it, 60 years has gone
exactly
by. Right?
Yeah.
Just
that's
like
something
this
I was
video.
thinking of while we were watching it. I totally forgot to say that when we
Just like this song, 60 years has gone by in a blink of an eye, right? So maybe we should do a reaction to the Yellow Submarine movie at some point on the channel.
Yeah.
I
didn't even know that. I didn't even know that there was a Yellow Submarine movie.
I think I've seen the Help one.
Okay.
They have a couple films, and I actually think, if I remember correctly, I watched it when I was younger, and I remember being surprised at how funny it was.
Oh, okay. Well, isn't there a cartoon too?
That's the Yellow Submarine.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, you guys can add more insights about the Beatles down below. We're going to stop yapping here. Have a great day. We'll see you on our next one.
Thanks for watching.